Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Nerd Buffet podcast. My name is Jake.
And I'm Tommy. We kind of had a time off. We didn't do one last week, so we had our video game Hall of Fame one.
And I was kind of sad while I was uploading the video, and it was nearing the end of the weekend. I was like, man, I wish we would have kind of like tagged something in on the end there, because there's so much I wanted to talk about, namely Suicide Squad. Mm-hmm. Everyone else got their reviews out on the internet, and I had so much to say about this movie. And so we'll have a pretty decent sized segment here about that. And I just, it's getting so much hate and so much love. It's kind of one of those movies that's really divisive for people. It's weird.
Very polarizing movie.
But first, I think what we need to talk about is the very sad news, Tom.
Yeah, sad news in the world of Star Wars. Kenny Baker, who played R2-D2, he was the man in the robot, and he was also the Ewok that stole the speeder bike in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, I actually didn't know that about him.
He died at the age of 81, and which is, I mean, I don't want to say it's awesome, but he lived a full life.
81 years old.
He wasn't expected to live past puberty with his condition.
Right, with those kind of conditions, I mean, you don't always get to live a full life like that. And 81 years old, I mean, I'd love to live 81 years old myself.
That's longer than I plan to live.
Right. Talk about... You shouldn't say plan to live. Man, that makes me sad to hear. You talk about a character that brought a world of joy for the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
For a character that's been in every Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Kenny Baker didn't wasn't in every movie, but he was in all the original ones for sure. And I think episode 1, but then after that they started doing a lot of CGI and stuff and his health.
Speaking of that character, he's been in every movie. Was it just 3PO that got his memory wiped, or did R2 get his memory wiped?
No, R2 knows everything.
That's what I thought. R2 is the one person who's lived and seen everything.
That's why
not
3P,
person.
That's why 3PO is always so confused when R2's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, I don't know what you're. And over the years, he also gained abilities to create rocks that show up in front of him.
No, that was George Lucas that created those rocks.
Okay, actually. That's right. No, but getting back to the sad. I mean, it's Kenny Baker. I'll thank you as a Star Wars fan. You brought us an amazing character. Of course, you probably didn't write the character. I'm not saying that, but without somebody in that suit, it couldn't have been as magical. I mean, the robot. I mean, coming to life with the little steps and all the little.
They could have done puppetry back then, but it probably wouldn't have been as.
It wouldn't be what you remember now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, from Nerd Buffet, send you off. I mean, hopefully one day in heaven we'll meet you, and hopefully you speak like beep, 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 or whatever. We'll say.
Hopefully not, because we won't understand him.
Well, I would.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I speak 3PO or R2.
You speak astromech?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
No.
Luke does. So speaking of Star Wars, we had some pretty awesome news drop. Well, pretty awesome things to watch drop. We had an actual, because the other one was considered a teaser, right?
It was a teaser, but it still had a lot of footage, a lot of information with it.
So we got our first actual trailer for Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
It's a mouthful. I just call it Rogue One.
Just Rogue One, I think. They got to remind people that it's Star Wars, though, in case somehow didn't know.
I don't know how you have to remind people it's Star Wars.
Well, there's no lightsabers. So I guess if you only know Star Wars from the lightsabers, then I guess you wouldn't know. But there's plenty of stuff in those trailers that'll remind you. The AT-ATs. One of my favorite parts of the new trailer is they shoot that rocket at the thing, and it almost gets kind of a character. It's not just like I'm a walking camel.
Yeah,
and it flinches.
Yeah, it hits it and it looks away like it just got slapped or something. I really like that new robot. I don't know the name of the robot, but it's
HK-47.
It's kind of a cross between HK-47 and C-3PO, I think.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't want to kill you, but it's a smartass.
Yeah.
It may want to kill you. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it.
We watched it again right before we started recording this. And we had already we had both. I had seen it only once before.
I've seen it twice on my phone. This is the first time we actually watched it on TV.
And I caught more because there's bigger screen and more details. But I definitely, when I was by myself, even I thought immediately when I started hearing him talk, I thought of HK-47. I think that's pretty funny that. And since we made the connection so quick, you've got to believe that other people who've played.
Knights of the Republic.
Yeah, both of them, because
Yeah.
he's in both. Kind of the same thing we were just talking about with R2. He knows the events of both, doesn't he? He didn't get a memory wipe. A lot of really cool stuff in this. Of course, we got to see somebody at the end of the trailer.
Yeah, Darth Vader is confirmed for the movie. From what the director said, it's the same director who did Godzilla. I don't recall his name, but he had said that Darth Vader is in the movie. He's gonna have a very small role, more of a fan service, but it's gonna make a lot of sense when you see the movie what his role is in the movie. I know a lot of people have complained about there not being any Jedi in the movie.
Well, I would,
and I think that blind guy.
Yeah,
that fights off all the stormtroopers. I think he may be a Jedi in hiding, or at least Force sensitive.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's definitely channeling the Force because he's blind. But there's that scene you see where he's got like a bow staff or something, and he's just taking dudes out left and right.
So I think he may be in hiding. Maybe lost his lightsaber, it got broke, or just doesn't use it because he doesn't want to get singled out as hey.
Yeah, this guy's definitely a Jedi.
We'll find out more.
I think that's a very good possibility. Is the latter of what you'd said is maybe he doesn't want to have because in Star Wars movies past when Jedi walk in, oh, that's a Jedi right there because he's got his weapon hanging right on him.
Anakin recognizes Qui-Gon.
You're a Jedi too.
As a Jedi right away, because of his lightsaber.
Yep.
I think that's a possibility. I hope that's a possibility, but it could also be following the old trope, the old kung fu movie trope of the blind master. There's a lot of.
I would rather it be the more logical thing. Follow the same narrative of he's a Jedi. I think we could keep talking about this if we wanted to. There's plenty there. The new characters look really cool.
Couple new starships. There's like a U-wing or something, I think they call it, or something. But
I don't know what kind of starship that is. But the guy that have we got the character's name that Jen is with? Because it's Jen something, right?
Yeah.
The guy that she's with that
I
has
don't know his
robot
name. I try to stay away from the Star Wars stuff as much as possible till the movie comes out.
That's something we always agree on with these here at Nerd Buffet. Movies like this, especially Star Wars. We'll put it this way: with Episode 7, I didn't read anything. If there was an article about Star Wars, I would literally go on my Facebook and tell it to hide the post because I didn't want to know anything about the movie. I went in completely blind with Star Wars except for the trailers.
I didn't go that far with hiding the posts, but I didn't read them for sure.
And it made it better for me because I was completely like, the last thing I saw was Episode 6, and this was 25 years ago, the first time I saw Star Wars. So, what else did we see, Tom?
We went and most recently we saw Sausage Party.
Yeah. What do you think about that? What was good? What worked for you?
I liked Sausage Party. You got to go in expecting a highly immature comedy.
A highly
high immature comedy.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. I felt like it was like a Toy Story for adults. Like I got a Toy Story vibe from it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like they have their own world and they got to try to hide it from the humans.
Yeah.
So they refer to the human as gods.
Gods, yeah.
Which is funny. The song at the beginning was so funny because they're singing about nothing could be wrong with this, and everything we believe is true.
It's fine. There were funny parts in this movie. I wasn't a really big fan. I remember I walked out. When it was getting really close to the end of the movie, I just couldn't help but think, man, I haven't really laughed a lot in this movie. A lot of the jokes didn't work for me because they happened way too frequently. We'll just say this is a spoiler review because, hey, if you want to go see it, we'll do non-spoilers, then we'll get into spoilers. Let's do that. How about that? I didn't like it a lot just because I didn't laugh very much. At the end, there's a really, really big laugh that, you know what I'm talking about, was absolutely hilarious. And if you can't get yourself to laugh about that, then there is something wrong with you.
There was a bunch of like teenage age girls that left during the end.
Yeah,
because
I think they were very uncomfortable
at it. So you can imagine it was funny.
But the main joke of the movie was that each of the food items was like a race. The tomatoes were Italian, which, you know, 'cause, what else was there?
There's the bagel, who was Jewish.
Yeah, there was a Jewish bagel.
It was voiced by Edward Norton.
We didn't know that it was Edward
No
Norton.
idea it was Edward Norton until the end of the movie.
But they kept going on with that joke, and like they went to like the Mexican food aisle, and everyone was Mexicans there.
Right.
And they kept trying to make that funny, and like there was way too much like gratuitous language in the movie that it pulled me out, like made me like not immersed into the movie. It was like, okay, stop, like I can't understand the sentence that you're saying because it's f this and f. I don't mind that, and I don't mind racism as long as it's funny. I don't mind. I was not at all offended, I guess is the best way of putting it. I was like, okay, get to the joke. Get to the next joke, because you keep doing the same one over and over again.
Speaking of the same joke, the bad guy, the literal evil douche.
Yeah, that was actually one of the recurring things that I did laugh about, what you're getting to.
Yeah, he every time he would like say something that could be construed as a pun, like he was like,
so don't even say it.
Yeah, and then a donut would be like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah, don't even bring it up. It's like, because he's not meaning to make the puns the whole movie.
Yeah, he's like, why don't you catch up? And then like there'd be like a bottle of ketchup.
Shut up. Shut up. I'm not talking to you. But then at the end, when he was like
trying to make the puns,
yeah, super like he thought he was like all powerful at this one point at the end. And he just like gratuitously like stares into the eyes of the people that he's making puns about and makes the puns. He's like, I dare you to even say anything about it.
I liked that part. There was a few references. There was a Sergeant Pepper reference. Like one of the peppers was Sergeant Pepper.
Yeah. And
then the meatloaf, the meatloaf that was meatloaf.
Meatloaf was good.
That was funny.
That was really funny. Spoiler time. Spoiler section of this review. 1, 2, 3 spoilers. So Meatloaf actually does ride like a bat out of hell at one point, too.
He
that
rides
was pretty cool.
Some motorcycle and there's an explosion behind him.
Yeah.
And it's the album cover.
Also, probably the hardest I laughed, besides the very end, the douche ends up sticking himself up the bunghole of like a worker.
Manager.
Yeah, the manager. He's like a really geeky manager.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah, it was Paul Rudd. I didn't know that was Paul Rudd either until the very end. And then Seth Rogen's character is hanging out of the zipper.
Oh.
And so he's got a gun.
Sausage. Seth Rogen's a sausage.
Yeah, he's a sausage. I mean, he's like a hot dog, technically, but he's a sausage. So the manager is like trying to yank him away, and also get the thing out of himself with a gun. So that was pretty hilarious. I think everyone in the theater laughed at that. And then what we're talking about at the end, again, this is a spoiler, that this is like what the whole movie leads up to. There's just a giant orgy with the food.
Yeah, a big celebration at the end, and all the food is just having a giant orgy, like you said, and you apparently thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was the funniest part of the movie. That was the only time that I just like busted out, like gut bust, laughing during the movie.
There were some things that didn't work for me, like the overall theme of like religion.
Yes,
They were trying really hard to like put a religion like.
It was very, very preachy, that movie.
Yeah, it was
really preachy at like, hey.
I don't think it was really preachy. I thought they were trying to, and it didn't work for me anyway.
Well, it seemed like really when it got there, like 30 minutes in is when I started being like, okay, they're gonna do this. That's fine as long as it delivers and it works. Like I'll accept it. But it absolutely didn't, and it just felt the whole movie through like they were being preachy, and everyone would be like
Seth Rogen.
Hey, now,
Seth Rogen came up. His character, the Sausage Frank, came up with proof that the gods weren't really their gods, and that they were just people and they were eating them. And he's like, I have proof. And then everyone else was like, proof doesn't matter. This is what we want to believe. It makes us feel good.
And everyone was stupid in the movie.
Yeah.
For believing.
For thinking that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of really one-sided for, I guess atheism. Yeah. I didn't want to say atheism because it didn't seem that way to me, but I know that's what Seth Rogen is, and that's what they were pushing.
That's definitely what I was pushing. Again, I wouldn't mind it if it would have been executed correctly, but instead it just came off as preachy, and I was already like waiting for laughs and kind of getting judgmental at that point in the movie of like, come on, this is supposed to be funny, and I've really anticipated this being hilarious.
Kind of the opposite of this is the end.
Yeah, it is, because this is the end. The whole time they're like, there is no God. Like, everyone's like, there's absolutely no God. And in the end, they had to say, oh, wait, there is a God. And that's what helped them. Like, well, that's what got them to heaven at the end of the movie. And
yeah, so, yeah, I mean, some people even see it as like a companion piece to that movie. Like, the opposite side of that movie.
Okay.
So,
I guess I could see it.
I think that's probably enough about Sausage Party.
Yeah, I personally will not watch that movie again unless I'm like at a party or something and somebody's playing it, or I'm at like with a group of friends and everyone's watching it and wants to watch it but me. I won't willingly probably watch it again.
I give it 3 stars.
I'm gonna give it. I'm not saying it's horrible. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I hate it. I've had to defend, especially This Is the End, because a lot of people said that they hated that movie. I loved This Is the End. I thought it was hilarious through and through. Especially with the extra characters, they had more parts. Like Craig Robbins, he was awesome in that. In this movie, he really didn't get to do much.
He was the grits.
Yeah, that was funny.
The grits that hated crackers.
Again, racist. But this movie, I'm gonna have to give it 2. I didn't like it very much. So
Sausage Party, Nerd Buffet, 2.5 stars.
Yeah. And as we previously said, there was another movie that we got to see in the theaters that I'm going to say a little bit more positive things about as compared to Sausage Party.
And you're going to be one of the only people.
Yes. Looking at aggregate scores on these 2 movies that we just talked about, I know they're opposite end of the spectrum types of movies.
Yeah.
But Sausage Party is just like is a fresh movie right now. Suicide Squad is the exact opposite, just like hated and crapped on right now.
Still
Getting worse and
terrible,
worse
yeah.
as the time ticks on. And I guess I don't quite understand it. The first time I went and saw it, I loved it. Then my girlfriend, because she loves Batman, loves the DCU, just like me. Kind of one of the things we started talking about when we started seeing each other is, hey, we both love Batman. Yay, we're together now. She absolutely loved it. She went dressed up as Harley Quinn. So, I mean, yeah, she had a little bit of a bias going in. But it was really cool for me to see her for the first time get as excited about a movie as you or I do about things sometimes. At the close of Suicide Squad, and I'm not going to get into spoilers yet on it, She
Might as
clapped.
well. It's been out for 2 weeks.
Okay, it's been out for 2 weeks. At the close of that, when it's revealed that the Joker isn't dead, which I don't know how she didn't.
I
see
don't
that
know how
coming.
anyone didn't see that coming, but
But he comes in and she's like Puddin' and hugs him, and he rips off his mask and says, "Let's go home." She goes, "Ah!" Like she was so excited about it, and it was really cool for me to see because every time I watch a nerd movie, I'm like, yeah, I'm
really
just,
cool for you to see that because then you can just treat her like crap and she'll come back like the Joker and Harley Quinn.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. And she can call me Mr. J in the process. No, that's terrible, Tom. Why would you say such a thing?
Well, because they have a very destructive relationship and some people romanticize it. That's why I said that.
I see. Yeah. See, I'd like
That's a whole nother can of worms.
Right. I'd like to have a normal relationship myself. What worked for you in Suicide Squad?
I liked the interpretations of the characters for the movie.
Yeah.
I very early on when they started making comic book movies, when they first started making comic book movies good, I told myself I'm not going to be upset when they change something about characters because it won't work in a movie. What works on a comic book screen will not work, or a comic book page will not work on a movie screen.
Yeah.
There's just no way about it. So I like the way they interpreted like Captain Boomerang. Like, if they would have had his outfit the same and like,
it wouldn't have worked at all.
It would have been terrible. So I like that. I liked Harley Quinn for the movie. For the style they're going for, she was perfect. She was
almost an exact replica. I mean, yeah, she was a little more sexualized,
which is a lot of people's gripe too. But
she's just. I mean, I'm gonna put a hair. She was a hair more sexualized than the Batman the Animated Series. Because if you really go back to that and the gripe that people said of like there's a meme going around social media of like you didn't like her until she was hot or whatever.
Yeah, until she took off her clothes.
Yeah, so BS. You go back and watch Batman. There's so many times that she's like crawling on the table like, aren't you gonna rev up your Harley? I mean, so screw you for saying that first and foremost.
She wasn't as scantily clad in the animated series.
No,
but
she
was
wasn't.
For kids.
Yeah. But she still was very risque.
Yeah, they slipped some of that jokes in for adults. And in some of the more recent comic book, like the New 52 and stuff, she's very more risque, more, sexed up, I guess you'd say. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just people looking for things to nitpick about. I don't know. They did even have a part where it showed her and Joker early on in their relationship, and she was wearing the classic Harley Quinn outfit from like the animated series. And we keep saying going back to the animated series, that's where Harley Quinn debuted.
Absolutely.
That was her origin. She wasn't in a comic book before the animated universe. So that's why we keep going back to that.
And that's my favorite media form of Batman ever. So that's going to be a lot of my reference point. As you know, if you've watched most of this, I haven't dug too deep into the comic books yet.
Yeah. What did you like about Suicide Squad?
Aside from what you said, because I fully agree, not all, but most of the characters really worked well. I'm just kind of piggybacking off of what you said. I've never liked Deadshot. Every time you see Deadshot in a form of media, or that I have, I'm always like, oh, come on, let's get to the next thing.
The next guy.
Yeah, because Deadshot's just boring. Very one-note, like C-list character.
One of the easiest bosses in the Arkham games, too, because you just sneak up on him and take him out.
15-second boss battle in that game.
Which could have been really cool.
Yeah.
So he's kind of been used, like you said, as a throwaway character.
Yeah, just like, here's an extra guy to give Batman something else to do, so we don't make things too boring. But they took that character, and that's the way that I've always seen him, and they made him into somebody that I'm like, can we get him in more movies, please? Can I get more of this? Because, and I'd argue character that Will Smith would have been put in the boots of would have probably turned out the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith's usually pretty good, and I like him in most things that he's in. But Deadshot, he brought a little bit more character to the character of Deadshot, I guess, just to say. Do you agree with that? I mean,
Yeah, I really like Deadshot as a character in the movie. I've never had strong feelings about him before, but I liked him a lot in Suicide Squad.
I think back, there's some really, really cool action moments in the movie with Deadshot. Rick Flag, who a lot of people I don't think liked in the movie, but I did like in this movie.
I liked Rick Flag too.
I thought the casting choice was awesome. He had just a little bit of redneck in him, and then just enough of he kind of thought he was too BA to be stopped, and he's like, why would we take these guys? I can just find some of my buddies, and we'll be in Suicide Squad.
We'll be better than these guys,
right? But he worked out to kind of just level out the group in a way.
He was the straight man of the group.
Yes. But in the end,
the world of all the crazy people in Suicide Squad, he was the straight man. Even though he was seeing Enchantress or whoever.
That's kind of what brought him together at the end.
Yeah.
Is he's like, hey, I know that we're not the same because you guys are bad guys and I'm supposed to be the good guy.
And almost all are metahumans too. Right.
But here's what brings us together. And whether it's him turning more of a, I don't think he actually turns, it doesn't make him look like more of a bad guy. That motivation really brought them to
just
rise
more
up.
Human.
Yeah.
More human than meta.
Yeah. So that was really cool. I kind of got off track there with my characterization thing. Harley was awesome. That's I don't think anybody else could have done that better than what she did. By looking like Harley and sounding like Harley.
Mm-hmm. Her accent was awesome.
Absolutely. It was the same accent as in Wolf of Wall Street, but it is the same accent. It's that's as close.
It's just thicker.
Yeah.
More drawn out, I guess, is what you'd say. The big thing people want to know about, and probably don't want to know about, but have opinions about, is the Joker.
The Joker, yeah.
Exactly.
Go ahead with your opinion.
No, I was going to ask you what you thought of
Okay.
the Joker.
So I've got a pretty long-winded opinion, and again, it is positive. I really like the Joker. I think we only saw the Joker on screen for 7 minutes during the entire movie, so I want to see more. So I'm not going to be able to give you a rating of here's where I put him in the movies, because I don't think we get a fair shot at that yet.
Boba Fett was only in the movies for 11 minutes in Star Wars.
Okay, and he's your favorite character.
He's my favorite character, so I can't judge, and he's a lot of people's favorite character. So, and Joker's going to have more screen time in the future, where Boba Fett's future is uncertain. So,
okay,
that's fine too.
But Jared Leto as Joker was awesome. After seeing it a few times now, I think the thing that he reminds me of most is if you had Jack Nicholson's Joker in the modern day.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I liked Leto's Joker. It fit in with the whole realm of the movie, what they were going for. It fit in perfectly. I thought of a better Joker for that movie.
No,
I liked,
because even if let's say our last Joker was still with us, he wouldn't have fit in very well in this movie.
Not in that universe. Not in this current universe. Yeah, about the only universe he fits in is Nolan's trilogy, where everything's dark.
Yep. One thing they did that was really cool with the joke, with the new Joker, was his relationship with Harley. What we're used to in a lot of this is him just kind of using Harley as a getaway device.
Like I said earlier, they have a kind of a damaging, explosive relationship,
which they still do in this too. Because I'll reference the Batman scene with Harley and Joker
when they're trying to get away.
Is he uses her to get away?
Yeah,
in the movie. So that gripe that people had, I just don't see it. I'm sorry.
But it did genuinely seem like Joker cared about Harley in the few scenes we see them together.
Absolutely. The coolest scene with the two of them, when they're at Ace Chemicals, and she jumps into the vat of acid for Joker. And he's, at first, you're like, oh, that's the Joker I know. Because he's like walking away, like, oh, she's done with her now, finally.
He's like, what a dumb woman.
And then he stops and he's like, throws off his jacket and jumps in after her. That's my favorite part with the two in the movie, just because it says so much. It's such a big change. I'm not saying Joker hasn't saved her before, or like gone in and rescued her.
It says a lot about his character in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Like what they're setting up for this Joker.
How insane he doesn't even know what he's doing. Because he set up that entire thing to bring her there to kill her. But then once he saw her just willingly accept it, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'll just go get her now. You know, it's just there's a lot about Joker. We're gonna see more of him. I pray that we'll see more of him because I loved him. Batman was in the movie a little bit. He was cool. He wasn't as murderous as the last time we saw him.
Well, it's before. That whole thing probably happened before he lost Robin.
No.
The whole chase scene.
No. This is everything you see in Suicide Squad. With that scene in
Everything.
particular.
Are you sure that scene takes place after Batman versus Superman?
Not the creation of Harley and Joker, but when Batman catches Harley, that's definitely after.
You think so?
Because it hasn't been very long that Harley's been captured. Because remember, the guy comes into Joker's apartment and says, "Where's Harley at?" And he's like, "Well, we figured out where she is. She's here." It hasn't been long because he's been searching for her this entire time. It hasn't been like a long time.
Okay, I guess I didn't see that. I didn't follow that part. I thought it was before.
I've seen the movie 3 times now, so I didn't catch it the first time either. But another thing I didn't catch, I don't want to go way too in depth because we're already running high on time that we've been given to Suicide Squad. Not that that's a bad thing. It took me 3 times to confirm the whole thing on the internet with supposedly Harley Quinn did kill Robin.
Wanted an accomplice.
Yes. That's straight up in the movie. During the part where she's on the stripper pole and it gives her like
there's like that flash screen and it tells you a little bit about
every character. It's right in the middle and it's I think 2 seconds maybe. It goes away. The rest of the stuff stays there, but it pops up for a second. I think I don't know why they did that unless they're just being
wanted to be coy about it. And people who didn't see it to go back and see it like you did.
I hope that there's more. I hope it's not just that reference there. I hope later on we get to see more with this. I don't. Do you have anything else to say about Suicide Squad right now?
The hate that it has on the internet isn't justified.
No, it's unfounded, I think.
I'm not going to get into the conspiracy with Disney but I think that I don't know, it's getting a big bad rap and then it doesn't deserve it. It's a really good movie. I'd go see it again, and I would recommend anyone else who loves comic book movies to go see it too.
Even if you don't like comic book movies, I think it had enough in it. The music was awesome.
Excellent. Yeah, a great soundtrack.
And sadly, some people are like, "Oh, that brought me out of the movie experience." Screw you. Screw you. If you said that,
those same people loved Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good comparison of like if you had never seen a comic book movie and you're gonna say, "Hey, this is a good movie," Guardians of the Galaxy, like we said last week or the week before, technically. This movie is one of those. You didn't really have to see anything previously, honestly. Just have to know Superman's dead right now. That's the only thing you need to know leading up into this movie. And you could go in and you could probably enjoy it quite a bit.
I'm going to clarify and say that this movie wasn't as good as Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, I don't think
Guardians of the Galaxy is a great movie.
I don't think it's as good as Guardians of the Galaxy.
I was just using that as a reference point for people who said they thought the soundtrack took them out of this movie.
Okay.
Loved the soundtrack for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
It's the same type of soundtrack, same type of score.
I'm gonna drop something on that not everyone's gonna agree with. This is my favorite superhero movie of the year, including I guess Avengers was like last year, wasn't it? Definitely going back to the comparison of the aggregate scores. I absolutely have no idea how this movie has a lower aggregate score than the Avengers Part 2. Hated that.
You liked it better than Deadpool?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
I like this movie better than Deadpool. Very close. I love Deadpool, don't get me wrong. I liked this movie more because it's not even a DC bias. It's just like Deadpool, I know I already liked the character, and they made me see that on screen. Oh, they can take a comic book and just put it on screen. But this movie, there were several characters that I didn't think I really cared for. Like Killer Croc is kind of another one-note character. They made Killer Croc cool. He was in it very little, and that was like the point. That was the best thing they could have done, is not have him in it too much, and the parts he was in it make him really cool.
I love Slipknot, my favorite character.
He wasn't in very long, was he? So where are you going to score this one at, Tom?
I'm being pretty harsh on my scoring, but 3.5.
I'm giving it a 4.5, so 4 average.
Nerd Buffet, Suicide Squad, 4 stars out of 5.
And getting even further into our DCU news.
Well, not really. It's not DCU. It's just the DC.
DC, okay, whatever. I was just DC Universe.
But
does DC have
DCU is the movie universe.
It's, they call it...
That's Batman. That's Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad.
I thought DCU just meant DC Universe.
No, it's like the Marvel Universe movies.
Marvel Cinematic
Yeah.
MCU.
Yeah.
See, DCU, I would think it's just all the DC ever. Do I have to say DC Universe, or what do I have to say? I can't say DCU.
I don't know. I think DCU is what they use to describe the movies. I'm not for sure.
Well,
anyway, we're talking about Killing Joke.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to get to, is the Killing Joke. If you have any sort of clarification, comments, please.
Yeah, please. I don't.
We would love to have the right.
Every time I see someone talk about the movies, they say DCU.
Okay. I finally got to see the Killing Joke right before we recorded this. Let's start with you, because you...
Yeah, our very first podcast we did, we talked about it coming out.
We had talked about it coming out, and I had just read the book for the first time.
Yeah, you had just read the graphic novel. I really liked it. Extremely. The parts that were meant to be the Killing Joke parts were extremely faithful to the comic.
Yes.
Almost to a T. But before that started, they had about a half-hour segment focusing on Batgirl. And I liked it, but it wasn't part of the Killing Joke originally. So I was like, I don't understand. But then you and I talked about it, after you've seen it, and you explained it, and I agree now that it's needed to explain Batgirl and Batman's relationship. If you're reading the book, The Killing Joke, you probably already know.
You've probably already read other things to know what their relationship's like.
But if you didn't, if you just picked up Killing Joke and was like, oh, I want to watch this, it was a good companion piece for it.
Somebody, again, to bring up my girlfriend in this, somebody who doesn't probably know a whole lot. She never watched as religiously as I have the animated series to get that even. And she's read comics here and there. So basically her love of Batman comes from the cartoon movies and the actual movies, like Michael Keaton and all. Movies. Yeah. And so, of course, she knows who Batgirl is. But if you would have just started the movie where the book starts, you get the feeling of, oh, I see why Gordon would be really affected by this, but I don't see why Bruce would be detrimentally affected by this to the point of a controversial ending.
So yeah, I end up, like I said, I liked the part to begin with, but I didn't understand. I really wasn't thinking about it in terms like that until we talked about it. But besides that, the rest of the movie was great. Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, just excellent chemistry together, as Batman and Joker. They can do no wrong.
You know what I liked the best about this movie? Is it felt like a long episode of the animated series.
Yeah.
It didn't... Some of the movies
But made
feel
for
like
adults.
movies. Yeah.
Like, you don't want to show it to your kids. If your kids love the animated series, this isn't one to show them.
No.
So you don't want to get that confused.
Well,
But I get
it
what
was
you're
made
saying.
for... and we've made this comparison before. I grew up watching that, and now I'm an adult. Mm-hmm. And so this was made for those people. Mm-hmm. And made for the people that obviously like the cartoon. But I really feel like I said, until a few weeks ago, I hadn't read the book. And even if I hadn't read the book, this movie was made for me. I was the target audience because I was someone who watched the cartoon and knew that, had that knowledge at least.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it. Something else I noticed while watching the movie was that with the end credit scene and the opening scenes, it was kind of it's supposed to be about the Joker. Like the comic book is about the Joker. This made it seem about Barbara, but also the Joker. But there's that underlying theme that it's about Barbara too.
For anybody who's seen it, the only thing that I would have taken out of the entire movie was the mid-credit scene.
The Oracle.
The absolute one thing I would have taken out was that little scene.
I think they just put it in there to have a kind of a happy note where you're like, okay, she's alive and she's still doing things.
But it's not a happy note.
No, it's not a happy ending at all for the movie. So I don't understand why they did that.
No,
for a rated R movie.
I wish you wouldn't have told me that it was there, and I just
stopped watching.
Ignorance is bliss, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
Good things about the movie. Voice actors. You can never go wrong with Mark Hamill as the Joker. I'll say the exact same thing about Kevin Conroy as Batman. Tara Strong, right?
Yeah, Tara Strong is
Barbara.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love Tara Strong in about everything, so.
I know that before I really recognized how many things she did, whenever we'd be playing something and Tara Strong, is it like Metal Gear? She's a voice of Meryl. I think she does Meryl's or somebody's voice.
Has.
Okay. She does somebody's voice in that in Metal Gear Solid 4, I think we were playing at the time. Tara Strong! And I'm like, who's Tara Strong? I don't know the name. I think I've heard it before. But I don't have a hard on like you do.
She does Harley Quinn in the
Arkham
games.
Yeah. And in the show. She did it was so she does plenty of different voicing and she is awesome. And now that you've kind of brought that out, well, this is going back 10 years now that you brought that out, I do understand why you get so excited about Tara Strong.
Plus she's hot.
Yeah, there's that.
That helps. Did you see the Comic-Con this year? She dressed up like Harley?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, she dressed up like Harley from the Arkham games.
We will put pictures right now of this. And they will make me happy even when I watch this back. Anything else about Killing Joke you want to talk about?
Nope, watch it.
Yes, do watch it. One thing that I guess I will kind of diving deeper into it. Different reading something and putting comic panels together in your mind than seeing a complete motion movie or you know what I'm saying?
Especially
when
if you're
Gordon screams Barbara when he's looking at the pictures,
Yeah.
it was a lot more haunting in the movie than when I read the book.
Yeah.
Because I had a voice in my head, but it wasn't as just, dare I say, crazy as in the movie, you know?
Yeah, it's a real big difference, especially if you're not used to reading comic books. I know you haven't read a whole lot of comic books, but if you're not used to reading them, it's hard to kind of link them together in your head.
And then the end of the book, as I stated before, the first time I read the book, I thought that it ended. I didn't like it because I thought that Batman killed the Joker at the end.
And that's still highly, controversial. People still think one way or the other. Mm-hmm. And what you're getting into, the movie makes it much more clear.
Yes, absolutely. It makes it 100 times more clear. When I put the pictures together in my head, he's standing and he puts his arms up and he's putting his arms on his throat, from what I picture in the book. And that's where it's like, does he just choke him out for a second and knock him out, and that's why he keeps laughing? Or does he kill him, like strangle him to death, crush him, and that's why he keeps laughing, because he's gone completely like insane. But in the movie, he definitely, in the movie, although it pans down the same way, I was like, oh, he definitely knocks him out, and he's like, you're going to the cops, you know, like that's the way I got it anyways.
I'm sure if we asked Alan Moore, he would hate us and DC.
Yes.
For asking him about it.
Yes. And hate everyone else in the world.
Well, he already hates everyone else.
Yes.
He doesn't know us, but I'm sure he hates us already.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Alan Moore, I hate you too. So.
Alan Moore, I don't hate you. I like your books, but you're a scary guy. So.
No, I hate you. I don't hate you. I'm just saying that. Thought it'd sound cool.
He'll never see it.
No, he's not going to see this.
He'll also hate us, though.
He'll be like, oh, Nerd Buffet, those are people I hate. Click. I hate nerds. Let me go ruin another story for him, make him think that Batman
He
killed
doesn't
somebody.
ruin no stories.
Well, at first I thought he ruined Batman.
Okay.
He didn't really ruin it, but at first I was like, screw you, Alan Moore, you ruined Batman for me. Speaking of Batman, I made a purchase. As soon as I heard it was out, I was like, I have to get it. I raced home on my bicycle from work. No, I don't. I didn't do that.
Look at him. He doesn't have a bicycle.
Right, I don't have a bicycle. I have a bicycle. I just don't use it. But, you know, I got home, and immediately when I got home, I was like, my girlfriend's trying to talk to me. I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm like blacked out.
To play Batman.
Yeah, have to play Batman. I bought the season pass to Batman Telltale games. So right now, episode 1 is out. I believe, like any other one, there's going to be 5 episodes. Kind of sucks. What sucks, it's the first time I've ever bought it before the whole game was released. So now I'm like hate waiting. But it's kind of nice saying like, oh, I bought these. It's like almost buying a subscription to like Loot Box or something. You know, it's like, I bought this thing, and now I got to just freaking wait, or a magazine.
That's like kind of how I feel about the Fallout 4 expansions, because I got the season pass for that.
And you're like, come out.
Yeah.
I want to play now. That's why I bought it.
I would have also purchased it, but my Xbox is dead. R.I.P. Tom's Xbox One.
R.I.P. Robert E. Lee. That song's so ridiculous. Batman Telltale episode 1 was really good. Not for me to have this entire episode just said everything's great.
Everything is awesome.
But everything is awesome. But I really liked that game. They say that it's a completely unique story.
From the little bit I played about half of the...
You played about 4/5 of it.
Okay, I was pretty close to the end.
You were really close to the end.
I played it at his house for a little bit. I didn't have time to finish playing it. It was getting late. But from what I could tell, it seems to be an original story. They got the Penguin, Cobblepot.
The Penguin's cool.
Yeah.
In it.
Oswald's in it, and he's younger, skinnier, and was Bruce's friend.
Yeah, when they were kids.
So I think they might be combining Hush and Penguin here, because their families have always been rivals. But they've never established that Bruce and Oswald were friends.
We're friends, yeah.
So, I think they might be borrowing, like I said, from Hush a little bit.
But the story that we get, it's really cool as far as Telltale games go, because you have to decide through this game whether you're going to handle things when you're Batman with brute force, or be a detective more so. And it's kind of the same way when you're Bruce, is you have to figure out, how am I going to politic my way out of this?
How am I going to remain having my cover, and people don't know I'm Batman, and they still think I'm this big billionaire playboy?
Yeah. So it's really cool, because I've always watched all these Batman things. I love the Batman games. But I mean, they kind of run off of a script, obviously. You play any of the Arkham games, you're going to experience the exact same story anybody else did from start to finish. But in this game, and especially after watching you, I get to be Batman now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the Dark Knight, and you're the Dark Knight too, but not the same Dark Knight as me.
It's very much like, and this is true for all Telltale games. Very much like a choose your own adventure movie. I mean, you're playing through it, and there's some parts where you're actually walking around and doing stuff. But for the majority of it, it's like an interactive cutscenes. And what's cool, they added the party play.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I would like to have the capabilities when everything's out. I want to have things taken care of to where we can do like a long play of it. Maybe we could get a group of people together.
Mm-hmm.
And party play works like you connect your phones to the game. I don't know how many people it is that can connect together, but you can have a room full of people connect to the game. And every time somebody, like there's a decision that comes up, if you've played a Telltale game of what to say, everyone gets to vote on what is said, and majority rules.
Mm-hmm.
So I think anyways, that'd be a great idea to get a bunch of people together and do it.
It's kind of like if you follow Twitch Plays Pokemon, kind of like that, except, more structured and a better medium to do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to say too much about Batman Telltale Episode 1 more just because there's not a lot to talk about it without...
the rest of it being out.
Yeah. Really cool thing, you didn't get to play, but the way Chapter 1 ends is you finally catch Falcone. He's kind of been the person you've been after during this whole thing. You get to him, and you ask him because somebody is making it look like the Waynes are very corrupt.
Mm-hmm. That they were a mafia.
And there's been a couple different people that have threatened Bruce Wayne or Batman, saying, "Hey, I'm going to get my revenge on you if you don't work with me."
Mm-hmm.
And you ask Falcone who it is that's screwing with everybody, and Falcone says it's the Waynes. The Waynes have been the biggest crime family forever. So maybe that's getting into a little bit of a mix of Court of Owls, but I guess we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sench to me.
So that's going to wrap up our show. We had a lot to say about the Dark Knight in that universe.
We had a lot to say about Batman.
I always have a lot to say about Batman, my friend. I hope you do too. There's going to be plenty more with Nerd Buffet of Batman, everything nerdy. We didn't talk about any video games because I've been so busy this week. I got 15 minutes of Overwatch in this week, and there's a sale going on right now if you have Xbox Live. I bought the remastered version of DuckTales for $3.74.
Nice.
Buy it.
Yeah.
It's the digital version, but it's for 360, so you could actually play
it on your Xbox One and 360.
So,
right?
But you can play it since you're RIP incumbents.
Yeah.
And it's actually really cool. It starts off with I've only played the first level, but it starts off with a new intro level that kind of teaches you.
I've got it for free on Google's on Amazon apps for free.
Okay.
So I was able to play it on my phone, but it sucks playing on the phone.
$3.75. You can't
I'll probably
really
get it. I think I have $5 in my Xbox credit anyway.
There you go. And Capcom, right? Capcom?
Yeah,
did that?
Capcom.
There's a big Capcom sale going on right now. So there's anybody that plays on Xbox One. I'm a big fan of Resident Evil games, especially 4 and 5 are my favorite too. I hated 6. I have 5, and I'm waiting for 4 to come out. If you have 5, I am the page, and I'd be glad to play with you. It'd be a lot of fun. So just kind of a shout out. I love that game. How's Pokemon going for you? Speaking of games, so that's the one game that I have kind of.
Pokemon Go specifically.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot lately.
Have or haven't?
I haven't. I used to be real excited about it. I'd be going on walks and stuff. And just like most multiplayer games, cheating has ruined it for me. I can't say for certain that the people around me are cheating, but
it's pretty darn obvious.
There's Pokemon I haven't seen before up there. on all the gyms always. And I've had people actually, tell me that they've been cheating.
Yeah.
They'd get on an emulator on their PC or something, and then walk around to different places in the world, get Pokemon you're not able to get.
This is the problem for people like you and I that are almost exclusively console gamers. When you play a game, I'll throw Halo out there. We'll just say Halo. You play a game like that, yeah, somebody might have some sort of cheat that works for a day or less, but they're going to get the banhammer really quick. In this, it seems a lot less regulated, and it seems like some of these have been out for forever, and
they
still haven't fixed anything.
They've done a lot of like putting out cease and desist letters to sites that help you cheat. They've been banning people who use GPS spoofing and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're not near as efficient as, consoles and stuff.
What makes me fear the most, and the reason I haven't been playing, is because, again, I cheated. I've got a rant on my personal Facebook, if you look at it from last week, where I said you can Pokemon Go F
yourself.
Yeah. If you're a cheater like that.
You said you had coworkers that admit.
A bunch of coworkers, admit it. Which certain ones in particular doesn't bother me, but when I see people, if you want to use it to collect all the Pokemon for yourself, that's absolutely fine.
But
unfortunately, there's a competitive nature to this game too, and people are using it for that. That's where I draw the line. That's where, all right, you're infringing on my fun.
When I was a kid, and I talk about this when we talk about cheating all the time. When I was a kid, I used to cheat the hell out of my games.
Yeah.
I had a Game Genie.
But that was your game.
And I'd use the codes. And you're right. Most of them were single player back then. All of them, pretty exclusively. And that's how I had fun. As I got older and started buying my own games, that wasn't as fun, cheating.
No.
Because you ruin the fun for yourself.
Yeah. Especially in something like this, if there was absolutely no cheating, there would be so much magic still in this game for me, because it's like everyone has an equal opportunity to go out and find these Pokemon. I mean, yeah, there are some region-based Pokemon and whatever. There's weird things about the game, but that really has taken a lot of it out for me. And just like anything, I'll use Grand Theft Auto for my example here. I feel like if they do put any sort of bans down on the cheaters here, we might be getting into a territory where, now if you try to do it the honest way, you're being like, it's harder to be honest than it even was to cheat. My comparison with Grand Theft Auto, of course, people duplicating their cars and doing all these things to earn money, whereas I'm sitting here playing the missions like you're supposed to do and earning money. And now all of a sudden they get rid of those.
GTA did a bad thing, and they tried to fix it by increasing the prices of stuff.
They increased the prices, and they made it harder to, less cash for doing the missions.
Harder to earn money.
It's are you kidding me? I'm not going to buy your stupid shark card. In Pokemon, I'm not buying any of your coins. I said I would buy a watch. I'm starting to think twice about that, because, number one, I can't get a watch because there's not enough out, and people are stupid and they buy them all online. But now I'm starting to say, hey, I'm not going to be playing this game by then. So, come on, Pokemon. A lot more we can talk about, but hey, that's why we have an episode every week. These come out on Sundays. We have Drive-Thru Wrestling that comes out every Thursday. Fortunately, it didn't come out till late Friday night this week because
some technical issues.
And I was really busy this week. So my fault, not his. I'm really excited for what's to come with movies. We're getting really close to the end of the summer, so we might have a countdown. And
we can do like a top 10 finally. We've been talking about doing a top 10 for a while. So
the Olympics are out, so I think sometime soon we're probably going to have to put out an Olympics themed video.
Yep, we should,
for games. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So until then, my name is Jake,
and I'm Tommy. And will Jake ever finish the Godfather series? Will Tommy's Xbox ever get fixed? Find out next time in the next exciting episode of Nerd Buffet.
Oh, this is always my least favorite time of the week. When the video ends, that means I have to go to bed and get ready for work in the morning.
It's okay, Jake, because you could always subscribe to the YouTube channel and be alerted every time the new videos come out.
Really?
Yes, you could also like the channels and follow us on Twitter at Real Nerd Buffet, and get on Facebook and follow us.
What? Oh my god, I'm gonna do it right away. And you should too!